Welcome everyone. The topic of the day is organizational network analysis. We will talk about the various modes of communication, the nodes and internodes of communication that happens in on a day-to-day basis in any vibrant organization. So basically organizations is nothing but again a replica of a social system with boundaries. Now this time it is the boundaries that we create. It's a mechanical human created boundaries, but at the same time are part of a social system. So, like any social system, the social network of individual permeates within and outside the boundaries of the organization. So, within the boundaries, you will be speaking to your employees, your colleagues, your peers, your seniors, your junior as a subordinate. But outside the organization, you might be speaking to the vendors, the customers, and the society at large, the government. So who are these networks? They are your colleagues, as I said it, colleagues from other groups that we are talking about. They are your ex-colleagues, people who have worked together. They are your college mates, perhaps friends and families that comes around. The social capital, since different network contains different level of social capitals, researchers are interested in finding out what are the different kinds of benefit we talk about it. How can these benefits be captured in the first place? So we need to understand what is the overall influence of an individual within this so-called organizations comes around it. So if this influences, why should and we studying the influences because they will capture certain amount of benefits that needs to be understood. So social capital occurs at three levels in terms of individual, groups, and society. In terms of group within the organization, there can be intergroup. A lot many groups might be there within the society. It can be inter-organization within and so. So we'll talk about the organizational network analysis. Now, what are this? Now, these are complex network that comes around it. See, this is a node that comes, and everybody will be talking about the other nodes which comes around. Everybody is talking, and what I'm trying to tell it to you is the nodes gets uh, interleaved and gets populated time and again. See, so many communication channel which started with only one particular person, and then probably this can be replicated time and again, right? So this is what we are looking out here. So we are having an organizational communication which might be formal and informal. There will be a formal network which are mapped, which are regularized. You have a superordinate, we have a subordinate, you have an assistant, which is basically under your ornogram that comes around it. This is what we are looking at. But then there are certain things which are informal network that I showed it to you in this particular example as far as thing is concerned. This is the informal network that exist in the any companies, any organization, everywhere. So organization communication, be it formal and informal, formal network are mapped, informal networks are not mapped. This is what we need to understand. ONA helps in organization network analysis, helps in maintaining or mapping the informal network time and again. What we need to go around it. So, act as an X-ray into inner workings of the organization, make invisible pattern of information flow visible. This is very important. This needs to be understood. Identify strategic important groups together. If you cannot go across it, you will not be able to sustain or survive. Thing is called the central in the network. This is what is an ONA is all about it. This is the people which needs to understand is where exactly a lot of works, a lot of influence can work upon by calls. So identify people that are central in the network who can impact a group's communication, can help our managers to take steps to improve communication. This is what has been told and shown it to you in this particular graph where there is uh, all the information that been collated out here. Absolutely, it might be circulated, but it's been reduced to only 3 or probably 4%. Even this person is isolated as such, so probably it gets isolated. Here becomes it all altogether. Now this person doesn't interact directly. As a result, he becomes almost like an assistant out to this particular gentleman or the lady that has been concerned. So ONA, organizational network analysis, is identifying the people that are central in the network who can impact a group communication, can help a managers to take steps to improve communication then and there. This is what we are looking at it, right? So what is organizational network analysis tells me? It tells me actually as who is peripheral, the people who are much of an inconsequential nature that has been told to you, probably where only data has been collected and they probably do not get the requisite feedback as such. So these people are at the boundaries of the organization, are probably at the lowest of the rungs, are probably they're the fellow who actually carries on the orders, thereby nothing else but the orders has been carried out by them. Remember, these are the people who are periphery and crafting message. On the other hand, if you look into it, the message, all information gets percolated as in this particular position. So this is what is the focal point altogether. That is what we are looking out here. So understanding who is peripheral and crafting ways to engage this person ensures what they ensures that all the expertises that exist within the group is utilized. They ensure that the lesser employee turnovers are there. There are lesser attrition rate. If you can keep these two peripheral employees engaged, loyal, I suppose almost the intact of the success of the organization is much more intact and probably much more fruitful in the cases, in the most of the cases. So organizational network analysis identify potential fragmenting junction. This is where the fragmenting junction comes around it. See what happens in this particular case is this person collates information from these two gentlemen, right, and then diversifies into two different altogether this area. These are two areas where he percolates the information altogether. So these are the potential fragment areas where he can select, retain, filter information to either of the gentlemen. Similarly is the case out here. All information gets collected out here and distribution has been done. Remember, this is a person who has a direct contact with the head out here, can obviously speak to the head directly. So almost a pivotal person, the most crucial person in this particular organization seems to be this person where fragmented junctions help. They can integrate disparate groups all together by themselves. This is what I want to reaffirm with all my audiences of this particular. So let us understand the methodology. Used as a name generator instrument, definitely yes. Organizational network analysis, a name generator instrument, was first used by Burt in 1985. Remember, it's way back in 1985 when we used to go to identify personal network of human Americans. From time to time, most people discuss important matters with other people. Looking back at over the last 6 months, who are the people whom with you discuss important matters, personal matter, let's say, was propounded in 1999 by Bailey and Marsden. So this instrument was used for three different network altogether. One of them was work related, the next one was innovation, and the last one was problem solving thing. So what are we looking at into it? We can do a work, we can do a lot of innovation, and definitely desist or you mitigate problems with the help of this thing. So instruments was used for these three different networks. Remember, we need to understand the ambience about here, why these networks were utilized. Organizational network analysis has to be understood time and again. Worker related communication networks, innovation communication network, and problem solving network that was there. Now, situation where network analysis has been used, it is the organizational change that we are talking about it, identifying the key influence of a strategic change or restructuring, monitoring integration of staff, following mergers and acquisition, communities of practices, organizational effectiveness that comes around it, and bridging relationship, which is most important as far as this thing is concerned. So we will speak about the situations where network has been analysis has been utilized. Again, I repeat, for changing of an organization, for having an OD activities around it, for having communities of practices in terms of any gaps that might exist probably between the standards and the actual, between the communication process altogether, or a measure on a return on investment. Organizational effectiveness is also one of the changes that comes around it, which is very much fruitful. Next is all about team building. Yes, team building is another thing that needs to be determined, and bridging relationship. What do we go around by bridging relationship in terms of mergers and acquisition and partner strategy? Remember, this is what we are looking at it, and partner. So business reasons for network analysis, what are they? It is the business leadership identifying high performer, people who are delivering repeatedly, time after time, day after day, week after week, month after month, quarter after quarter. So that is what we are looking into. So this is where we have to innovate as plus and develop leadership. So that is what innovations is all about. It connecting people and ideas, identifying the key energy sources. This is what we are looking into. It connecting with the people and ideas is one of the most important thing. Then is what we look at as a knowledge management in terms of identifying expertise. This is where the book of knowledge would be consisting of with respect to a particular organization or a company, assessing connectivity with access to existing knowledge assets, and the lost knowledge problem that comes around is we come across. This is what we are looking. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.